Hmm. I would like to ask how we deal with things when they come in sudden bundles and it looks like some big mountain of a lot of things. That's uncanny because I just had a day just exactly like that. Um, Seemingly sudden bundle, a lot of things to coming up at the same time unexpectedly. Yeah, it happened to me as well. Of course, it happened today. Why would it not happen? These things come up, right? Like especially systematical things, bureaucratic things. Yeah, systematical things. Okay, look, first of all, if we get stressed, if we get annoyed, if we get uh, upset, so what? Yeah, if we feel fearful, so what? There's a contraction, yeah? There's a feeling of contraction. But that's because these uh, bundles which look like big mountains, they are things that come up that aren't natural in a way. Yeah. They might be some unnatural demands from others. They might be some systematical requirements, administrative stuff, bureaucratic stuff. It's normal to feel that it's jarring. Yeah. Especially if we have some sensitivity. So really the hmm, I don't know if there's a way to deal with them, but there is certainly a possibility to just, especially if it feels like too much. Why does it feel too much? Because we're not meant to deal with that many things. So it can just be easy to just let it, leave it, just stay here. You know what I mean? uh because, okay, here's the thing. whatever Whatever's going on in this moment, and I'm talking about now, like while we're talking, while we're communicating here, yeah, whatever's happening, we can't say it's too much or it's overwhelming or anything like that. We would never talk about it in a problematic way. Yeah. You might doubt that, but it's a fact. We would never speak about really this instance, so to speak, in a negative way. So the fearfulness, the anxiety, the stress, the contraction, it has something to do with either a thought about tomorrow, what's going to happen in the future, or what happened in the past. Yeah, so it has to do with thinking. It's the mind going racing back or forward. Yeah. So even in those times when something happens, or something comes up, the actual what's actually going on in those moments is not a problem. It's not problematic. It's the habits. There are strong habits of maybe past experiences about something having come up and feeling tough. They're all kind of associations. There are associations, memories, habits, all these kind of things. um there are a lot of factors, I would tell you, like a lot of things that go into this. For example, that this tendency to think that I will feel relaxed once this is done. Yeah. I will feel relaxed once I've bought my house. Uh, I will feel relaxed once my children have gone off to school for the day. Yeah. It's this anticipation of like this, which I imagine to be like ahead of me. There is some promised state of relaxation. Okay. It's this making this distance because I'm here now. I can't be there later in, I can't, it's almost 10 o'clock here where I am. I can't be at 12 o'clock. I just can't. Yeah. Time, it doesn't really exist anyway, but just so to speak. So if I think that there's a point of relaxation at 12 o'clock, but I'm here now. It's this difference, this distance, that's the stress. It's there that because there are so many possibilities. Yeah, what could happen between now and 12? There's so much overwork for the head, for the mind. You understand what I mean? So if we see that, like, actually that point is actually here, but how many people really stay here? You know? So, like I was saying, there are many factors. That's one. There's also, I think, one important factor is that the demands that come, even we're talking about systematical things, yeah, let's say bills, appointments, this, that. There are certain demands which are like these, which set themselves up as authorities, yeah, the state, the government, the police, the, I don't know, the immigration department, the town hall, whoever, okay, families, teachers, all kinds of positions in society, but they have no authority really over us ultimately, okay? So it's like a knee-jerk reaction to, where does this anticipation come from? Why is it so difficult to see this distance? I agree. Why can we not stay there? We can. We always are there. That's the bottom line. So it's a little bit like, how to say? It's difficult to put into words. It's like a rooting. It's just the clarity that we are always there. There is nothing else. It just seems like there and behind and ahead. Okay, this distance is illusory. Yeah. So it's because we make things into things. Okay. So for example, I feel some nervousness about something. Okay. So I feel nervous about something. But now I think, oh no, I'm nervous about this situation. And so now I'm looking at the nervousness and thinking about it. Like, then I spin a web around it with thoughts. Yeah, we all know this. Now it looks like a thing because it's energy. So it's like electrons going around a nucleus. This energy is active. It's spinning around, so it gives the appearance of a thing. Now it's a task I have to resolve, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, but the seeing that it's not actually a thing. There isn't a thing there. That, and the fact that we are always only where we are, so to speak, that kind of, I want to say that seeing it it burns away the other stuff. There's a relief in it, like, oh, okay, it can't ever be different anyway. Even if I can't see it, even if I don't think it's that way, it's still that way. There is no path about this. Yeah, there is no practice, there is no way to achieve something, because there is nothing to achieve anyway. But there is a process of growth. There, just like a plant grows, there is a process of maturation. So when we're dealing, because we're dealing and we grow up in an environment which has this collective ego's energy, basically, there are habits and memories and associations that we make, and things that need to sort of be shaved off, or like that wither away. Yeah, like when the flower withers, it's like the end of the flower's opening. Yeah. So these things, they need to dry out and go away, and that happens the more we get. Uh, the more there are these reliefs, like for example, seeing that there is only what's going on right now. Ultimately, that's not even going on, because there is just a being. There's not a doing going on. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. So in this whole context as well of this topic, there's a lot of confusion with I, for example. Yeah. So now I've heard someone say that there is no I, and this and that. So now I start thinking, now I'm in the way. Yeah. Or this, what I think is I, is in the way. But actually, really, that's not how it's meant. That's not what that means. What the implication of the natural fact that there are not two things, non-duality, the implication of that is not that there isn't an animal here, a being, a mammal. We are mammals. Yeah, we are one of the living forms. We don't even have to. Yeah. So the fact is that there is only one of you. Okay, there is only the uniqueness of each. So the whole expresses itself in this diversity and abundance. And each aspect, each thing that takes form, is completely unique. It doesn't appear twice. And that uniqueness, to live that's the key. That's what it's all about. Obviously, because that's the beauty of abundance, that each thing flowers and lives its life, runs its course, So if we're here, then we're right in if we get a feeling for this uniqueness, yeah, just even when we talk about it, just the sort of thought or the realization that, oh, there's only one of me, there's already a sense there. If we stay with that, that has much more worth than anything that might come from the outside. Nothing can stand up to that. Nothing can enter it, nothing can harm it, nothing can shake it. Yeah, that uniqueness is meant to be. So there's no possibility of how could anything affect it, really. Ultimately, it's this process of making something out of things. The things that, okay, in the absolute sense, there are no things at all anyway. Everything is energy expressing in certain, taking shapes. Yeah. But in this world, there are things. The only things that we could talk about are, for example, I don't know, this cup, or a pillow, or or the curtains. But those are never problematic. So as soon as we talk about a problem or some issue, which is idea, these are always idea related, and we call them problem. It doesn't mean that they're problems. It's just that we spend so much time and energy thinking about them, so we create the appearance of a thing, and that we see as difficult. Yeah. After some time, it's like I fall again in the same mess. Um, but that's really the thing about, like, things are the way they are, even if it doesn't feel like it. Yeah. So there is only this, I don't know, presence. If you say everything is present, there is only that, even if it doesn't feel that way, even if then something comes up and I feel isolated or this way or that way. But there is comfort in that already. Why do we get that agitation to spend a lot of energy to make things up and see them as a problem? Yeah, okay, that's a bigger topic, because we're used to it, because we are taught, because of the emphasis that's put on the mind in human culture. Yeah, in some cultures more than in others, but in most of the cultures around the world, there is quite a lot of emphasis on the mind. And the whole problem, the whole reason that we can even talk about anything that's sort of unfree, quote unquote, yeah, ego activity or claiming, or yeah, why there is this discontent, why people yearn for actually being free while they're already free fundamentally anyway, that is only because of a separation of humans from the rest of nature. An apparent separation, humans setting themselves up as something special. So they have declared that they are separate, that they are above. If you're above, you're separate. Yeah. There is no real separation, but it's the appearance. It seems like we've set ourselves apart from nature deliberately. Why? So that we can. There is like some, I don't know. It's a mystery, just like everything else. Yeah, the origin of it. But if you imagine, for example, people in like way back, sitting around a campfire and starting to tell stories. Yeah, we have a unique gift, which is thinking and language, which is unique to our species. Okay, so it's very marked in our species. Yeah, it's a gift, it's an ability, it's a unique ability, it's not a special ability. So let's say we're sitting around a campfire, and then stories start to be told, and then stories about the ancestors and how great they were, and slowly then you get some exaltation. It's the kind of freedom that exists in words. Now we are able to, with thinking and with words, create concepts. So it's very easy to create images, evoke emotions in others, and so on. Yeah. So what it boils down to is an abuse of this ability. And how does that come about? By declaring these abilities, thinking and language, to be special. They are what makes us, yeah, we are special because of them. They distinguish us from other animals and the rest of nature. And that's the seeming separation. There is no separation there. And nature is already free. The illusion is this world where humans are the special creatures. So when things come up, instead of being able to let them go and having that sense that things work themselves out, yeah, 80% of the time without us doing anything at all. And if we do need to do something, that also becomes apparent. It becomes clear. For me, if I don't know what to do, I won't do anything. If I'm unsure, I won't do anything. Only if I really am clear that this needs to be done, I'll do it. And then it's not a thinking I should do this. It just happens then. Yeah. So this point about thinking. It's because if we give the mind the task to resolve everything, that's not what the mind was for. But because we've exalted it and we've put it up as such the most important aspect of us, we've neglected the other side, the side of the senses, which tell us, like our sense of appropriateness, for example, will tell us what's appropriate in this given situation, right? But those are all ignored. All our senses, our feelings, they're ignored. It's the thinking. And of course, that creates stress on the mind because it's not meant for that. It's meant to get some intuition or see some intuition and then put that into practice. Like, for example, an invention or technology, or there'll be some, could try this. And then the mind could try that. Or if we're trying to find a parking spot, that involves thinking and looking and, I could fit in there. Yeah. So it's much more, the mind is much more a secondary thing. It's not meant to it's not meant to take action. It's meant to respond to the stimulus that comes from our senses, the collection of all our senses, which includes senses like the sense of appropriateness, the sense of justice, the sense of dignity, integrity, honesty. If you get a bad feeling about someone, it's not, let me analyze it with my mind. No, you just get a bad feeling about someone, right? Think about how protective that is. Yeah, okay, so that's the reason why we spend so much, we try and attack anything we see. We try and, if we are observing it, we're observing it just with the mind, and then we attack it with a lot of thought. Now we have to do something about it. That's why we create this. We just give it too much energy, mental energy. How do I see if it's coming from the ego in me or it's something I really want to do? If you feel jumpy about it, if you feel really bouncy, joyful about it, then it's something you want to do. Or if you feel some real calm and some joy, some sweet feeling about it, then it's something you really want to do. You get a sense of it, and the more you actually respond to your senses, the more the space you make for them or embrace them, whichever way you want to put it. You could put it in so many different ways, but the more they take their true place in our nature, which is the principal place, the more they have space to breathe and function normally again, then they get out of this straitjacket and they kind of are able to move normally again. And things might take some time to calibrate again, but that's just like as you go, trial and error. I feel like I cannot really differentiate. Is it possible that our natural ability to see difference can die? No, I mean, as long as there's even a little bit of life left in a body, there is the possibility to for things to for things to be undone. Okay, but it requires some openness. But it is possible that, there are, I would say, the majority of the world has a deadness inside. There is because the doors have been closed. There is no openness or sensitivity anymore. But I don't know. We've never spoken face to face or anything. But I can, from everything you've messaged in any of the chats we've had, it's clear that the difference can't have died in you. The ability to see that difference, you know? Sometimes it feels numb, but so what? Yeah, it's like boredom. The other day we were talking about boredom. It's the same. So what? It can be creative also. So if you're not able to see the difference, then there's no need to go forward unless it's totally clear. If your intention, if your sincere desire is to see that difference, of course you will see it as and when you need to. It's only when we don't pay any attention to that, and we don't have any concern for preserving our own dignity, yeah, maintaining our humility, maintaining our openness, maintaining our sincerity. If we completely ignore our conscience, for example, slowly all these doors close, and there is like an inner death in a way, which just means that the ego has taken over completely. Okay, but that you see in like people who are extremely egotistical, or like completely drunk on power or something like that. Yeah. But situations will come up where it's not clear what you know what's the um yeah, it's the I would say that the root even of any kind of prayer that people have ever said, yeah, there's the desire for clarity. Yeah, that would be real devotion, let's say. It's not asking if there is that devotion, or that attitude of prayer, let's say. It's not a asking for a decision to be made. It's more to get the clarity to make a decision. But the whole point about it is this, and that's the, you could say, the beauty about prayer and devotion, is the acknowledgement that I am not all powerful. I need that point of inspiration, of intuition, whatever you might call it, guidance, whatever. Yeah, I'm a reactive being in that sense. I respond. I don't initiate. You know what I mean? But if we think, yeah, so yeah, kind of in that sense. Before you said unnatural demands, I agree these things feel or looks like unnatural demands, and why do they even come? Well, if somebody asks you to agree to something that doesn't feel right to you, or just ask you to agree something that is obviously unacceptable, why do they come? Because of how rampant the claiming is in the world. The whole world runs on claiming, and everybody thinks it's natural. Everybody thinks that's how it is. It's like an ashram. There are rules, arbitrary rules, and everybody has to accept them. Everybody has to dress the same way. If someone comes from the outside, oh, first of all, you need to be like this. Follow all these rules. Then slowly, with a lot of patronizing, you'll be accepted, maybe, if you follow the rules. But if you don't, then stay out. You know. So the demands are always unnatural because they're based on this world of the mind uh, being the god, really. Yeah. So if the mind it's like an artificial or a forced divorce from the origin, which is nature. Yeah. So in nature, there is everything that's necessary. Okay. There's abundance of life. Yeah. So if we to exalt the mind and to exalt humans, to say even logically for the concept of higher to make any sense, you have to have something that's lower. In this case, what's lower is nature. So everything that is earthly is seen as low, is seen as dirty, is seen as sinful. Yeah. So that creates a cutoff from our point of nourishment. That's where all it's nature, it's our uh, animal nature, really, where our nourishment comes from. But because that's all declared as lower and dirty and bad, our reference point is only the conceptual world. And of course, the demands that comes up with this looking down on nature, of course, how is that not going to be unnatural? So of course, the demands on those kind of demands will be unnatural. Anything that goes against your feeling is unnatural, necessarily. I'm not talking about like whims or emotions, even, but like our deepest senses. When I say feelings, I mean our deepest sort of sense of wholeness, of integrity. Yeah. How do we deal with the unnatural demands in physical intimacy? Firmness, firmness, uncompromising firmness. Yeah. And that doesn't even have to include, it can, or like sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but it's not necessarily by words. The first line, it sometimes it's necessary by words also, but the first line of uh, integrity is inner firmness. It's what are we willing and not willing to accept. Not in the sense of like, oh, I don't like it, I don't want it, but I can't do anything about it. Maybe this is the way things are meant to be. No, the clarity, the firmness that something is not acceptable. I don't care what you say about it. I feel this way. That's enough. I don't care if the whole world says, yeah. I don't care about the consequences either. But if I am firm, if there is true firmness, that is enough to resolve the situation. That because that firmness communicates inwardly to others. The ego can't proceed where that firmness is there. The ego can only enter where the fear makes the opening for it. Yeah, that's a nice, beautiful Chinese saying that harm only enters where fear makes an opening. So firmness, it's the answer to everything. No, this is why, again, this is in Chinese, some beautiful elements in Chinese philosophy, which is the doing by not doing. Yeah, I don't, Wu Wei, maybe it's called, I can't remember. But doing by non-doing, that everything is accomplished without doing anything. And what is that? That's firmness. So the firmness literally will shape things around you differently according to harmony. Again, because it's basically this then things are back in their place because we're born with that firmness. It's only this world of like illusory human-centered view of the world, of full of claiming and without any regard for what's natural, yeah, for our natural abilities and so on. It's only that which provides the conditioning and says X, Y, Z, puts all these conditions up. This is how things are. Yeah, descriptions of reality, what's the real world out there, and all this stuff. So yeah, it's about firmness. It's that same thing, that through that respect for our own, that it's not even respect, it's like, well, yeah, self-respect, which is the really the acknowledgement, the seeing the gift nature that this uniqueness is. We don't get this gift of this, any gift, the gift of life, we don't get it to throw it away on the ego in others, you know. So yeah, the firmness about all that. There you go. They follow that, stay with that, go into that, like see where that takes you. If you have that, if you honor that gift, if you honor your life, if you uh, go with that firmness, if you don't, if you acknowledge those feelings of that this isn't acceptable, and are uncompromising about it, then it's like all the armies of the whole of what there of the whole cosmos are behind you. That's how the flow, the quote unquote flow, because nothing's really moving. But if you say the flow of life, like the dynamism of life, the energy of life, it always flows with what's harmonious. It always flows with yeah, it'll always. So in that sense, if we go with what feels right just because it feels right, then we kind of join that stream of that freshness that we're looking for, and of life. When you tell to a friend familiar about this matters, how do they feel? You mean about the topic of non-duality? I will only talk about that with someone who's interested in talking about it. I won't just go and talk at people about it. When you say that the illusion has ended there, it sounds to me very much like this mistaken belief that seeing that there is no me is somehow enlightenment or freedom. I see the only illusion I see is really that the belief in the human-centered reality. Yeah, everything else. I is just a word. It's a signifier. There's no issue really with talking about this with family or friends or anyone that I would be familiar with. You know what I mean? Just the search and yeah, yeah, okay. But there's no need. It won't even. I feel like it won't even come up to talk about this with someone who's not interested. You know what I mean? Unless I wanted to push something on someone, but that would just feel completely unnatural. So it's not, that movement isn't even going to happen. So it's never a topic really that it might come up in a discussion where the other party isn't interested. It's like I'm not going to talk about football with someone who really doesn't give a shit about football. It's such a waste of my energy. It's the same. I like that I didn't realize anything, just the search, and yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful thing when that simplicity. And it's possible. It's very simple and easy, and it's not some rare thing. Or I mean, it might be rare because of how much claiming there is in the world, but it's not like there is a very slim chance of that ending in any human being's life, you know. I just say that because that's like a popular view. I didn't That wasn't anything towards you at all. Okay. My first contact with a person that talks about non-duality. Okay. I don't For me, you don't need to put quotation marks for the word person. I have no issue with that. I don't subscribe to the um that kind of misunderstanding about non-duality. Hey, Molly. My sister and best friend both suffer a lot from seriously overcomplicating life and running from emotions. And this friend has been having psychotic breaks, etc. Okay. Yeah, yeah, Molly. Unexpressed emotions is surely cause a lot of stress and all kinds of things. Yeah, shame. Hey, Molly. I feel bad being around them, and I feel like they are never going to get better. No, you don't know that. Don't assume that they're never going to get better. You don't know that. People run into walls. People have all kinds of life takes care of people. You know, the opportunities come again and again and again and again to kick back and take a step back and reassess and so on. You know, so don't worry about that. Just the more you're firm in yourself about yourself, the more other people take courage and heart from that. You know, does that make sense? The best way to help anyone, not that anyone really needs help, but we're talking about love, so of course you feel a certain way about someone who's going through some distress or something, yeah, or overcomplicating their life, like you say. The more you're firm within yourself, true to yourself, whatever you want to call that, the more that communicates to others. That's what really helps. Then there's also that also never creates any dependency, because it's always clear that the source isn't someone else. You're just it gives energy somehow. It's Yeah, eventually a person will say, well, I can be firm about myself. What's the problem here? You know? And also, Molly, like the firmness is also like a firmness about not accepting. It's like you're basically there's a firmness which sort of, I'm just painting a picture here, yeah. It's like you're affirming or asserting the true self in someone else. You're communicating with what's true, with what's loving there, yeah. um, and you're refusing to accept any kind of ego stuff. So even ego doesn't have to be overt egotistical stuff. It's also self-blame, guilt, all that stuff. So if someone, I don't know, let's say someone runs around their life with a whole lot of self-pity, so then you just it's like a natural, the more you're within yourself, or firm or true to yourself, loyal to yourself, the more you automatically reject that kind of thing in others also. Yeah, and it sends kind of a message like, no, that's not, I'm not going to have anything to do with that, but that's who you really are, in a way, in that sense. It's an energy thing. But yeah, so the firmness also, it kind of chips away for someone else also. You know what I mean? Because they then sense also that you're not going to be up for engaging in those kind of things, you know? Anyway.